All right, here we are with our celebration continuing forward on, oops, get to get it, whoop, there we go, Unbreakable Spirit, 18 Stories of Feminine Resilience, Blessings and Renewal. And Cheyenne, you are our last interviewee for the whole book series. There were all 18 of you ladies. That's such amazing stories and beautiful, beautiful connections. So we wanted to talk about your story, and your chapter is chapter 16, called From Violation to Soul Initiation in the Sacred Valley of Peru. What an interesting, you know, I knew when I first got your chapter, I was like, what's this all about? I want to know what it's all about. So share with us who you are, what you do in the world, and what made you decide to write a chapter in this book series for Unbreakable Spirit.
I am Cheyenne Marie Wright. I am an astrologer and soul embodiment midwife. And the reason why I really wanted to write this story in the book right now is because it's sort of this pinnacle moment in my soul embodiment journey that describes the work that I do.
Mhm.
So at this time, I just wrapped up my 3.5 years in Peru, and I'm sort of launching into this next stage of my journey, and it just feels like a perfect time to get the story out there and inspire women and people all around for the soul power that we have inside.
Fascinating. You had it in your book, or in your chapter rather. I have it up and I want to read it. It says, the worst experience of my life alchemized into an essential truth that awakened in my very cells. We do not have to be warped into contracted versions of ourselves because of violations put on us. I was no longer a child. I was an empowered adult woman who could alchemize anything life threw at her, even her deepest fears, turning toxicity into pure gold that awakened the soul power within.
Ooh,
Now that's powerful. And you're
what a
going,
good
I wrote
quote to pick. Every time I hear it, it's like,
I actually wrote that. Wow. So tell us a little of the backstory about where this came from.
Yeah, so I moved to Peru in a very unexpected, soul guided vision. I didn't know what I was going to do there, why I was going to be there, didn't speak the language, didn't know the culture, the whole thing. And so that was a journey in and of itself that required a lot of courage and trust and faith and creativity. And I ended up in a situation that nobody wants to be in, that I was in a taxi running a day of errands in the nearest major city from where I lived in the valley in a small town. And in that situation, I discovered that a drug had been put into my water bottle. And there was just this moment of, reality crashing. Like what I was feeling, my body, my motor functions completely start to shut down. And so, of course, the worst is on the horizon. It's nighttime. There's no cell service. I'm driving in 13,000 feet elevation, and it's just me and this man who's put a drug in my water bottle. And I started to realize, though, after having been on my spiritual journey for a number of years and really deepening in my shamanic studies, that this was an initiation, and I basically had the option to figure a way out or not. And I didn't know how I would do that, and it was terrifying, and I had many different voices going off in my head that made it even more challenging than just, holding my body upright and staying conscious. But it ended up being truly an initiation of why I call soul power, because a strength emerged from inside of me that's not written about in textbooks. They don't talk about this in school. And um, it was a moment of experiencing like something I had been getting closer and closer to in my spiritual practices and spiritual journey, but that completely changed my understanding of what we're made of and what we're capable of doing for ourselves when life throws us situations that seem impossible.
And we all get those different kinds of experiences, whether it's as intense as what you had, but we all have things that get thrown up at us, and it's what we choose to do about it, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I love that you say that, because I often say this to people, as this is now what I do in my work, is work with clients one-on-one, really in sort of midwifing big moments of change or transition, or when people are feeling they've either gotten pushed off the ledge into transformation, or they're feeling the call to it. You don't have to get drugged in a taxi in Peru.
Don't want to do that one.
No, but it's like we just never know what life is going to throw at us. And I think, and sometimes for me, it's almost like having had this pinnacle experience just allows me to look at so many other scary things in my own life or in clients' lives and say, you can do it, period. Period.
Right.
I know you can do it.
Right. I was recently doing a study about the difference between the words react and respond.
Mm,
And there's a huge difference between the two.
yes.
And you can have a reaction to a drug if you're taking medicine. You can have a reaction to all kinds of different things, but you can also choose to respond. Is your body responding to that medication that you're taking versus reacting? And this is true in every aspect of our life too, in life situations and the words that come out of our mouth, the way we choose to, even under high stress, to respond rather than react.
I love that. I feel really strongly about the choice between those two words. And one of the biggest messages that really I had an understanding of it, but through writing this story in the book, it really illuminated what one of the biggest messages was brought through me that I meant to share with the world. And it's really the shift from victimization to soul empowerment, because that traumatizing experience, though I made it out physically unharmed beyond the drug being put in my body, it was still incredibly traumatizing
and scary.
Yeah, and something that I had been studying somatic resources and classes and different things, and this was this pinnacle moment of like combining the somatic education I was receiving with the astrological training and working with my clients through a direct experience that I was having in my life, to realize that this situation was happening for me. I don't look back with any sort of anything against that man. I think that it gave me the opportunity to step into a level of power that I wouldn't change for anything. Do I think he should go out and repeat that? Absolutely not. But I can be in that situation and either, I could have walked away very traumatized and left Peru, for example, just having so much activation in my body of the terror of what could happen again. But by utilizing, this framework that I didn't realize I was really creating at the time, I was able to shift into this experience of how we can be in this call and response and dance with life and what I call the celestial elders, what they're throwing at us with what's being activated for us individually in our lives, versus turning into, as you said from the quote, a contracted version of ourself and being in that reactionary state where this happens to me, therefore I'm going to sort of turn away from life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. How beautiful. And when you're working with your clients, how do you see them respond when you show them a different approach?
It like immediately what I do is my eyes get wide. It's like what I call the original soul essence, or another version of our inner child. It's like coming back into the state of possibility, right? Like that life is really working for us, and it is a co-creative dance, and we are made up of creative life force energy to respond in that dance, that we're so much more powerful than we realize. So I watch this, it's almost like a baptism of possibility and this excitement for life again.
Absolutely beautiful. And what's next for you? Do you have a book of your own? Do you're coaching? What all you tell us about what you're up to?
Yes, so definitely, it's all been happening in the last 6 months, just this sort of culmination of really honing the tiered framework that I now offer, these soul embodiment experiences. So that starts with 3 6-month, 12-month containers for doing the one-on-one work. And then there's a culminating opportunity to do a one-on-one retreat in the Sacred Valley of Peru for people who are feeling called, because that place is such a powerful place. I don't think I could have evolved into where I'm at now without the specific energies of that place. So the people who feel called there know they're feeling called there, and it's an opportunity for an awakening. And I was given the directive from what I call my spirit family, that I am to write a book about my whole time in Peru. So getting to write this story was a really supportive and powerful entry point into knowing that I absolutely can write this book, and I will. Maybe 2026 will be the time. I shouldn't say maybe. 2026 will be the time.
That's beautiful. It would be a fascinating book to read and to really share a story that is powerful and that is impactful, that could really make a difference. And for those that are ready for that message, wow, it's really, really important. So when somebody picks up this book and they're paging through it and they come to your chapter 16, what do you hope they walk away with?
This ignition I'm talking about, this feeling of like shock and awe, but I think it stirs in people. It stirs in people that whether they can put words to it or not, that they too carry the same thing. This isn't a story about me. This is a story about us and what we all carry. And I think particularly I feel called to igniting that in women and that divine feminine power as we're shifting the tides from a world that's been very oppressive to women. So yeah, that ignition of, I have this too.
Beautiful, beautiful. On the back of the book, it says stories as medicine, courageous power, spirit unbreakable. What are those three groupings of words? How do they apply to this whole conversation? And your take on it.
Wow, I think they perfectly describe my story, and it makes so much sense why I found this incredible group of women in this book at this time, because I think all of the stories in this book, it's like a kaleidoscope of all these different experiences and perspectives of those words. So I feel so honored to be a part of this group and the power that's here.
It's beautiful. It's incredible. There's a quote on the back of the book. It says, medicine for the heart and spirit, testifying to the power of our resilience, our grit, and our grace. I recommend this offering wholeheartedly. And this kind of sums it up as far as the words that you're sharing. What an incredible story. Thank you for having the courage to stand up and be who you are, and to choose to respond to life in such an amazing way. It's beautiful.
Thank you, Becky. Thank you for gathering all of us and giving us the opportunity to present our stories.
Beautiful. Thank you. And it's quite beautiful. And I want to congratulate you that that you're showing up in the world that in the way that you are, and that you're leading in the way, because that's what our world needs.
Thank you, Becky.
Well, this concludes our interview for Unbreakable Spirit. The link is in the chat, and it's also rolling across the bottom of here. If this book resonates with you, please pick up a copy, and you will enjoy the amazing stories that are yours to feast on. Thank you.